So let us try to understand about the mechanism of urine formation, how actually the urine is getting formed within the kidneys. Okay. So coming to the mechanism of urine formation, there are actually 4 steps in the formation of urine. That is glomerular filtration, tubular reabsorption, tubular secretion, and formation of the hypertonic urine. So these are the 4 steps. So all these steps basically will be mediated in the nephrons, which are the structural and functional units of the kidneys. So as we have already known that kidneys play an important role in excretion, and in that particularly nephrons has to play the important role if at all the urine has to be formed. So coming to each of these steps, let us understand what are all these steps. The first step is called glomerular filtration. So what will happen in glomerular filtration? If you remember, glomerulus is this portion of the nephron. So it is nothing but it is formed by a network of the afferent and efferent arterioles. So what are these afferent and efferent arterioles? Afferent arteriole is nothing but it is the branch of your renal artery. The renal artery, when it has to come and reach the nephron, which is the smallest part within the kidney, it will be bifurcating and it becomes what is called as the thinnest tube, which is called the arteriole. So the afferent arteriole with all the waste materials will bring the blood for filtration to the glomerulus portion. So the afferent arteriole is the blood vessel, okay, which has cropped up from the renal artery. It is a bifurcation or a ramification of the renal artery which will be forming the glomerulus. So afferent arteriole will bring the blood for purification, okay, so that it will be free from all the waste materials. So the afferent arteriole comes inside and it will form still thin blood vessels which are called the capillaries, and it will form a bunch of capillaries like that, from which will arise the efferent arteriole. Okay, the efferent arteriole diameter is less compared to afferent arteriole, and this difference in the diameter of the afferent and efferent arterioles basically will create a pressure in the glomerulus that will be helping in filtration of the blood free of the waste materials. So during glomerular filtration, what will happen is the blood which is coming to the kidneys through the renal artery, it will be entering each of the nephron as the afferent arteriole, it will enter inside. Okay, so all these tubes which are there will be loaded with the blood that has to be filtered. So because the afferent arteriole and the efferent arteriole have differences in the diameter, the glomerulus that is there, okay, in the glomerulus actually pressure will be experienced by the blood and the blood will be filtered, okay, free of the waste materials. So it will experience the pressure and filtration will take place here. Actually, okay, in the Bowman's capsule, the bottom layer has got a layer of squamous epithelial cells called the podocyte cells will be there in the Bowman's capsule. So when the waste materials are filtered off, a transparent filtrate will be formed, and that filtrate will pass through the Bowman's capsule into the further leading tubular structures. So here actually what we need to understand is glomerulus is the portion which will be helping for filtration of the blood, okay, free of all the waste materials. The waste materials along with water would come out as primary filtrate in the glomerulus portion, and that happens due to differences in the diameter of the afferent and efferent arteriole. So after okay, the filtration takes place, you have the formation of a transparent okay, filtrate which is called the primary urine. So that primary urine which is formed will pass into the tubular structure. Okay, the starting point of the tubular structure is the PCT, that is the proximal convoluted tubule. So here the next step will take place, which is called as the tubular reabsorption. So what is this tubular reabsorption? When the primary filtrate or primary urine is formed, it contains a lot of water in it, along with that lot of important salts, vitamins, amino acids, glucose, everything which are important to our body are also present there. So all this primary urine will come to this part. Then in the proximal convoluted tubule, in the first bend, what will happen is these important substances, 75% of the water, also amino acids, glucose, vitamins, important salts, okay, of sodium, calcium, potassium, etc., which are important to be retained in our body, will all be absorbed back. Where they will be absorbed back is a question. You can see the peritubular capillary network which is running throughout the nephron. So into the blood again they will be reabsorbed. That is what is called called tubular reabsorption. So near PCT, all the molecules which are important along with the water will be reabsorbed into the blood, into the peritubular capillary network which is running there into the blood. They will all be reabsorbed. Then the primary urine that is there will pass through the next part of the tubule, and it will be passing through the loop of Henle. So loop of Henle, in the loop of Henle, 10% of water will still get absorbed, and the filtrate that is there will be moving towards the DCT, which is the distal convoluted tubule. That is the second convolution that appears within the tubule. So in the distal convoluted tubule will be the third step, that is tubular secretion. So after the urine is getting formed like that as a filtrate, and when it reaches the DCT, urea, uric acid, creatinine, sodium, potassium, hydrogen ions, all these are secreted back. Where from they are secreted back? Through this tubular network that is running throughout. When the filtrate reaches the DCT, some of these substances which are still present in our blood will be added there near the DCT, which is called the tubular secretion. So at that point, all these substances which are still present in the blood will be given out near the DCT point, which is called the tubular secretion. So after tubular secretion, the urine that is formed will enter into the collecting tubule. So once the urine enters the collecting tubule, from all collecting tubules, from all the nephrons, the collecting tubules will open into the pelvis, where the urine, the excess water, salts, everything have been reabsorbed, and whatever the waste that are there that have been secreted back. So such type of urine enters the pelvis, from where it will enter into the ureters. So here we have the fourth step, that is called formation of hypertonic urine. So what does this mean? Our urine as such is hypertonic because all water is not getting eliminated. 75% of water is getting reabsorbed near PCT, 10% by the loop of Henle. And when it reaches DCT, actually lot of water is being reabsorbed into the body. So our urine becomes hypertonic. And if you drink less water, let us suppose, in order to maintain the osmotic balance, the water will be retained inside your body more and more, and very little urine output you get. So actually there is a hormone which is called as antidiuretic hormone, ADH, antidiuretic hormone, or it is called vasopressin, which is produced by the posterior gland of pituitary. Posterior pituitary gland produces this. So this particular hormone plays an important role in reabsorbing the water into the system. So according to the pH of the blood, pH of the blood and the osmotic balance of different salts and water in the urine, the amount of water that has to be excreted will be basically regulated through ADH. So ADH is the hormone, antidiuretic hormone, which is inversely proportional to water intake. Suppose if you are taking in plenty of water, then there will be no role of ADH. That is, it is not reabsorbing any more water. But if you take in very less water, let us suppose, it plays an important role in keeping back that little water, whatever you have taken inside your body, and not allowing it to go outside through the urine. So that is the role of ADH. So in some people wherein there is a problem with ADH, where there is a deficiency of ADH, lot of urine will be continuously sent out. They will be having the problem similar to that of diabetes patients, the diabetes mellitus patients, and this condition wherein there is deficiency of ADH leading to multiple urinations like that, that condition is called as diabetes insipidus. It is called diabetes insipidus, which occurs due to deficiency of antidiuretic hormone. So this is how actually the urine gets collected in the collecting tubule, and from all the collecting tubules it will open, the urine that is formed will get opened into pelvis and it will reach the bladder. So the urine that is formed, how much amount of urine we excrete per day is 1.6 to 1.8 liters. It can be more also depending upon your intake of fruit juices or more water or whatever the water content you are taking in based on that. So the urine that is formed will enter into what are called as the ureters, which will arise from the hilum of the kidney. So these actually are nearly 30 centimeters long. They are distendable. That is, they are elastic in nature. They carry the urine by peristalsis movement. The urine will reach the next structure, which is the bladder. So bladder is the structure which is inverted pear shaped, and its capacity is 300 to 800 ml it can store. Okay, so as and when the bladder is getting full, okay, this point is closed. So this is the outlet actually through which the urine will be sent out, and this is called the urethra. So between the bladder and urethral opening, there will be what are called sphincters, which are the ring, okay, of muscles that will be there. So there are actually two sphincters will be there, which will be actually closed when the bladder is getting full. So when the bladder gets full slowly, okay, you will start feeling the urge of sending it out, the urination. Okay, the process of urinating is also called as micturition. What it is called as micturition. So when your bladder is getting full, okay, the walls basically will be extending, the nerve endings get stimulated, and slowly the sphincters, okay, the sphincters will get activated, and whenever you want to pass your urine voluntarily, the sphincters get open and the urine is passed out. Okay, in the case of young children, the small babies, they cannot have a control over the sphincters properly, wherein the urine, okay, will be sent out involuntarily, and slowly it will be developed over a period of time. That control is slowly developed. Okay, so the urine will pass into the ureters, then to the bladder, and then with the help of sphincters, it will be regulated and it will be sent out through the urethra. So urethra is the opening which will be sending out urine. Okay, in the case of females, it is okay, just 4 centimeters long, and in the case of males, it is 20 centimeters long. The urethral, okay, tube will be 20 centimeters long. So in the case of males, the urethra is the point through which urine and also the sperms, which will help in production of babies, also will come out. Okay, whereas in the case of females, it is very small, that is 4 centimeters long. That's why females are more prone to urinary infections. Okay, and it is very close to anal region also. That's why there are okay, more cases of urinary tract infections in the case of females. Okay, so after it reaches the urethra, it will be sent out, and the process would be called as micturition. So this is how the formation of urine will take place. Okay, and coming to the pH of the urine, the pH of urine is acidic initially. So when you pass out urine initially, it will be transparent and it will be yellowish in color, and it will be acidic in nature. So it will contain, when you see the composition, it contains nearly 90% of water will be present. Lot of water will be present, nearly 95% you can say, and the extra amount of the fluid will have all the organic substances, okay, like the urea, uric acid, creatinine, okay, little amount of glucose, all the salts, etc. All that will be present. Okay, 2.5% of organic substances will be present. Our urine basically will be yellowish in color due to presence of a pigment, okay, which is called as urochrome. The pigment name is called urochrome, which is formed by breakdown of hemoglobin. This imparts color to the urine. So our urine is little bit yellowish in color. So actually our urine is acidic when you are releasing it out, but after a period of time on long standing, it becomes alkaline. It becomes alkaline on long standing, okay, because the urea that is present in our urine, upon long standing, it gets converted into ammonia. That's why, okay, our urine changes its nature from acidic to alkaline after a period of time. So this is how actually urine is getting formed, and this is how actually each nephron would function in production of a drop of urine, and all together will make up your 1.6 to 1.8 liters which we are excreting per day. So this is very interesting and quite easy to understand. Hope you followed.